Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time on this Thursday evening. Lovely to have you in for another episode of the Prime Time Show. Thanks for stopping by. One of the first cuts of the offseason happens to be the guy who could have been your starting right tackle, and instead he's a dipshit and decided to slap his way out of a job. We'll talk about Jamarco Jones getting cut tonight on the show. We'll get into a discussion about, all right, where's the next right tackle coming from? And should this be a situation where the solution is in-house or brought in on the free agent market, given that the next guy has just recently arrived from the free agent market? We'll do a weekend bounce back. I'm sure Jamarco Jones will probably make an appearance in there as well. A lot of good stuff to get to tonight on the Primetime Show. Before we get started, need you guys to share the broadcast around wherever it is that you're hanging out with us. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch. Those are your options. If you are on Twitter, retweet the show. Bottom right-hand corner of your screen is how you do it. If you are on Facebook Live, you can share now to public. That's in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. YouTube, Twitch, like the video. Subscribe to the channel. Make sure that you once you've done those things, make sure you tell a friend to do the same. We'd be grateful for you that way. Rooney Glover says, Rand will figure it out. Well, he already tried. His right tackle, both of his right tackle situations have really, really let him down in a big spot. So there's only so many offensive linemen that can be acquired at this point. I mean, I guess there's always more offensive linemen that can be acquired, but there's damn few of them already in the league that can play. So we'll talk about what Jamarco Jones getting released earlier today means at this point. There is a comment though that I'm looking forward to getting to, because it's just a logic that I cannot understand. But anyway, we'll have time to get to that once we get the show started. Let's do it. Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time on this Thursday evening. I'm your host, Buck Rising, and I'm proud, as always, to be presented to you by the great folks at the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. Wherever justice demands, Amanda J. Gentry, a new partner that we have on the Primetime Show, somebody who you're going to want to partner with if you feel like your constitutional rights are being threatened. AmandaJGentry.com is where you can find out about all the different services that her and her legal team offer. TrueMav Fitness in the Gulch. Go to TrueMavFitness.com for your first workout free as a Middle Tennessee resident. Training camp has kept me out of TrueMav this week, but looking forward to get back in the swing of things with personal training next Tuesday. You can get your first workout free today, or I guess tomorrow, this weekend, or any point next week, whenever you like, as a Middle Tennessee resident at TrueMavFitness.com. So as we look at the Titans offensive line situation, you understand that this team is down bad. I think that the tackle circumstance, it's been taken out of their hands now twice, where their right tackle to start the year gets a 6-game suspension for gambling at the team facility. Not gambling on NFL games, but gambling on something at the team facility, which is, of course, a no-no. His explanation is, well, I didn't understand the rules clearly enough. Okay, well, it's a dumb mistake. You look at the situation now with Jamarco Jones. So they got to figure out the right tackle situation with NPF on the shelf for at least the first 6 weeks. So in comes Jamarco Jones, who has been here for a season, lost all of that first season due to injury, but somebody who Mike Vrabel seemed to like the promise of, who the coaching staff gave the opportunity to earn a starting job, not just this offseason, but last offseason as well, when Dylan Radins was very quickly found out to not be a starting caliber tackle. They decided that he was better suited at guard. That Jamarco Jones then had the opportunity to earn that job last year too. Now, injuries cost him last year, but the thing that's cost him this time around and flat out cost him his job is he can't stop slapping people after the play. Things that are dumb. Slapped the Guardian cap off of Arden Key the other day. Made him look like Daffy Duck when you're in the cartoon, when he gets his face slapped and the beak spins around his head. That's what Arden Key looked like the other day. He's out here doing illegal crackback blocks on practice squad linebackers like Chance Campbell for reasons that are inexplicable to me. That's why he got tossed from practice today. So he continues to get into fights. Jeff Simmons on what was that, Tuesday. Today, he had the illegal crackback block. And after a certain while, Mike Vrabel said, all right, you know what? We've had enough of this situation. You'll hear from Mike Vrabel here in just a second. But your Two Rivers Ford take is this: fair or foul? The Titans cutting Jamarco Jones today. Let me know in the comment section on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch. We will remind you that the Two Rivers Ford take is made possible by the wonderful people at Two Rivers Ford. 40 years of quality American-made Ford vehicles, award-winning customer service. Nobody is better than Two Rivers Ford here in Middle Tennessee. The Oilers throwbacks, the Titans announced them earlier today. Two Rivers Ford is launching their throwback logo as they take it back to 1983. You can have the same kind of pricing, the same kind of customer service, the same kind of quality customer service and quality American-made Ford vehicles that Two Rivers Ford has continued to operate with over the course of their 40-year existence. Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet, or online at tworiversford.com. So as you look at the situation for Jamarco Jones, fair or foul, him getting released today. Rooney Glover says fair. JR says hate to say it, but Locked On Titans beat A to Z to reporting the Jones story. Oh, okay. What, did they get the email? Did they tweet the email faster than the rest? I have no idea. And again, I'm unfamiliar with Locked On Titans. Is that another YouTube channel? I mean, okay. Congratulations to them. I think NFL, the NFL official Twitter account credited to Rappaport. So, it's whoever tweeted the email fastest, I guess, at that point. But so okay, that's all well and good. Congratulations to them. If they broke the story before the transaction went out, then good job out of them. Nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of news that goes around, and if anybody local can break anything, it's tough enough to do. Is speaking as somebody who's done it. So if they did in fact break the news, well done by Locked On Titans. Okay, so fair for, is it Wheezy on YouTube? He's saying fair. Corey D. Jackson fair as well. Josh Sabata says sends a hell of a message cutting him, letting the team that they are not going to put up with that. I think the circumstance with the offensive line, it's absolutely fair. Mike Vrabel was brief in his statement after practice today about it. This was prior to Jamarco Jones being cut.
No, I mean, I think you have to just know how to practice. We talk all the time about being competitive and going to that line, and so we're not going to do anything that hurts the team. We don't want to see that.
So that's Mike Vrabel speaking for a second time to open the press conference about an issue that occurred at practice. The issue that occurred at practice today was Jamarco Jones executing an illegal cutback block on Chance Campbell. Lane says, is this a prime example of dumb shit to hurt the team? Yes, because that's a penalty. That's a 15-yard penalty. A 15-yard penalty that costs your team in the game. If you're in a 2nd and 5, which is hard enough for the Titans to do based on last year's sample size, all of a sudden that becomes a 2nd and 20 because you've committed an idiotic penalty such as that. When you know you're going to get called, when you know the kind of things that Mike Vrabel coaches, when you know that they're paying as close attention to the rule book as anybody, and are out there watching these practices like they are officials, basically, as somebody who's on the competition committee and really, really stresses that element of it. This is a prime example of dumb shit to hurt the team. So you understand why it was that they ultimately ended up releasing him. And I saw a comment earlier that confused me. And maybe it was said in jest, but I do want to go back to it. Jeff Rubel, foul. The offensive line needs some intensity. I would have suspended him for a week. Sure, you can find intensity elsewhere. Intensity, you can be intensity and not be a dipshit, right? Like, I know plenty. You know who's intense? Mike Vrabel. You know who's not a dipshit? Mike Vrabel. Like, you can find plenty of intense human beings on a football field. Jeff has moments that are, Jeff has in his background things like spitting on Marshall Yanda, which are definitely questionable. Stuff that goes on between the whistles that you don't want them out there, one, getting caught out if they're going to do it, but probably not doing stuff anyway. Jeff is an intense person, but he doesn't get flagged for penalties like that. I mean, Aaron Brewer is an intense person. Aaron Brewer is probably the strongest offensive lineman that they have, which is crazy because he's tiny for a player at that position. Aaron Brewer is intense. He's also not a dipshit. So you can have plenty of intensity across a football team, on a coaching staff, and anywhere in professional work. Zach Bingham. Zach is an intense human being. For those of you who are on, who watch the A to Z Sports morning show on a regular basis, it's not just the cocaine eyes that Zach came into this world with. It's that Zach has that level of intensity. You know who's not a dipshit? Zach Bingham. It's just so unbelievably simple to not be stupid after the play. And so when you look at the kind of things that Jamarco Jones consistently does at practice, it's not intensity. He's just an idiot. If he can't figure out that you can't do those things after the snap and that you're going to get tossed out of practice, and you know that you're not in a position to be that kind of flippant with your job security, you're Jamarco Jones. You don't matter like that. And that's exactly what they told him today. So I think when you look at all of the different situations that this Titans team is going to have to figure out, they have to have players that they can trust. And if they can't trust him to behave himself with his teammates after a play, then yeah, you don't want that dude on your football team. Bryce Erickson says, what about cocaine? No, not that Zach is on cocaine, that Zach has the eyes of somebody who is on cocaine. Not an allegation, just a funny observation. Zach's eyes are very, very intense, especially when he gets fired up and starts making a point. He gets much closer to the screen, right? The eyes pop even bigger. It always cracks me up. I like the statement made by the coach. Yeah, they're just not going to deal with it. So at this stage, it doesn't make Jamarco Jones intense. It just makes him an idiot. A to Z Sports Primetime is made possible by the Ashton Real Estate Group of RE/MAX Advantage. Go to GaryAshton.com, get your dream address without the stress. The intel edge you need to succeed is at GaryAshton.com, the official real estate agent of the Nashville Predators. So I think that people are making jokes about Zach and cocaine. Listen, I think if Zach ever actually did something like that, his heart would explode. Zach already has the I don't know what Zach's blood pressure is. It can't be good. It can't be. So if Zach ever dabbled in that, that would probably be the end of Zach Bingham. I don't know that intense of a person could handle something like that. Anyway, let's keep it moving. JR says Austin wants to strangle Zach deep down. Yeah, but that's most people who have been in relationships for a long time. Austin and Zach have been in this marriage for a very, very long time. I'm sure there are moments when Austin wants to strangle Zach. I'm sure there's moments when Zach wants to strangle Austin. I'm sure there's plenty of moments where Bert wants to strangle me. I think that the jokes that you guys are making about Zach, shame on you, really. But cocaine eyes is probably something I should not toss around so flippantly, especially about somebody who is my employer, one of my employers at this stage. Anyway, so I think when you look at the circumstance it's halftime of the Hall of Fame game, by the way, if any of you guys are watching this slop, it's higher scoring than I anticipated. 16-7.5 is wild. People are getting nuts out there on the field. Actual touchdowns being scored in the Hall of Fame game. But I think that when you look at the offensive line circumstance, now your situation has become even more complicated because, yes, you found out that you can't trust this player to be able to do his job and to do his job well. So now you have to continue to cycle through the best of bad options. And, you've already kind of brought in the best of bad options at this stage. Now, I bet they are regretting. I don't know if regretting is the right word because, things like this happen all the time. But the idea, and I haven't seen the contract details on George Fant. In fact, I'll look them up really quickly, who they offered veteran minimum before he went on to sign with the Houston Texans. I'll check out the details of that on Over the Cap if they are available. Yeah, it wasn't a bad deal. I mean, it was, so the contract value okay, this is his Jets contract. That's not something that we want at this point. All right, current contract, 1 year, $2 million. 1 year, $2 million base salary, $500,000 prorated bonus, per game roster bonus of $500,000. and a guaranteed salary of $300,000. So it brings his total cap hit to 2.735. A pretty cost-effective deal with the Houston Texans. So, Titans went veteran minimum. They got Hubbard instead. I'm sure they thought they could work things out with Jones. They ultimately didn't. So, you can't dwell in the past that way. But I do think that Fant was a better option. Hubbard is a career backup, and that's probably your starting right tackle at this stage. He has been a starting right tackle in the league before, but we'll talk about that together. Let's talk about the options that they have at their disposal. So Hubbard, elsewhere on the roster, Skoronski, maybe. We've talked about Peter in that sense. In fact, you'll hear from the offensive line coach here in just a second, Jason Hoteling. But Hubbard, Skoronski, or free agent TBD? Who do you think starts for this team at right tackle at this point? We'll talk about it together on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch right after I remind you that the Primetime Show is presented by TrueMav Fitness in the Gulch. TrueMav Fitness is where I go for personal training. Tuesdays and Thursdays are my days, except when we have training camp because my schedule conflicts, but I always get my workout in with TrueMav Fitness. They are the best facility. They have the best coaching staff. They have the best workouts. They're never recycled or repeated, so it continues to elevate your fitness level as you achieve your goals. TrueMavFitness.com is where you go to find out about all their membership options, their boot camp style group workout classes, their personal training, or to just join as a member and have access to their open gym. TrueMavFitness.com is also where you go for your first workout free. So as you look at the offensive line, so Jamarco Jones out, Hubbard is there. Skoronski seems entrenched at left guard, but they do like the versatility of the player. Jalen Duncan has gotten a few snaps in training camp, but nothing where it seems like they plan to continue to do that with him. It just seems like they're trying to get him to, be available as a swing tackle in certain situations. So we'll see how that plays out. JR says, did Murray play anything but center? Not in the NFL at this stage. They also have OJ, John Ojukwu, who is a undrafted rookie free agent and who was getting snaps with Jones prior to Hubbard's arrival. Hubbard and OJ are probably the players that make the most sense at this stage. But I do think that a conversation, a lot of you guys are going to be interested in the idea of Skoronski. Now, I think that they are not moving Peter Skoronski unless there is a catastrophic situation that requires them to move Peter Skoronski to a different position. But just in case you were curious about the kind of progress that they rookie left tackle turned left guard is making, this was the Titans' new offensive line coach, well, new as of this season, the newly hired offensive line coach, Jason Hoteling.
Yeah, anytime you throw the pads on, it's certainly easier to see the full play and, the effort, the finish, the hands, we talk about face, feet, and hands, and with the pads on, it's certainly more of a real evaluation as far as each and every play, run game, pass game, individual, everything is evaluated better with the pads on for sure.
As you look at Peter Skoronski, going against a guy like Jeffrey Simmons and he's dropping the anchor and doing well, but from your perspective, how has he done, in that challenge?
Peter's done a great job as far as just continue to come out and work every day, getting better. I think I've heard this a bunch from other lines and stuff and people throughout football, like iron sharpens iron. So him going against Jeff every day and battling with him and continuing to work different techniques and, again, face, feet, and hands, where they're going, when you're throwing them, where you're, stuff like that is, it's been awesome. And to see him continue to grind and work has been really a good thing.
Is the idea to continue to work him exclusively at guard, or are there thoughts, if things don't work out at right tackle, to bump him up to there?
Oh, yeah, right now, I think Graves said it, in the one press conference there, like he's comfortable there at right guard, but, there's certainly versatility to do some other things. But right now he's just hanging there, left guard, and just continuing to work.
What gave you guys?
So that is Jason Hoteling, the new offensive line coach at this point, talking about the idea of Skoronski. Somebody asked me, Major Key says, Buck, advocate to bring your best friend Taylor back for vet minimum. Why? Taylor is 255 pounds or something ridiculous. I don't want to see. one, Taylor is not playing football anymore. Like, I mean, look at him. Taylor doesn't want to play football anymore. Like, even if, Taylor is a great example of means to an end, right? Football is a means to an end for Taylor Lewan. And that the football portion of his career, and I'm not speaking for Taylor, but I just like based on how these things have happened, Taylor got the money, got the platform, got the accolades, had success, and now is going to transition successfully into a media career. He's going to do fine. He's probably not going to make as much money as he did in the NFL, but he's going to make a decent amount of money talking for a living. Why the hell would that dude want to get back in the? He clearly doesn't. He has no interest at this stage. And again, that's not having talked to him, but I literally look at him and tell me what level of interest that dude has in the idea of playing football again. And I don't even know if he could. He's got ongoing litigation about the ACL tear that they botched a couple of years ago in 2020. So at this stage, yeah, Lewan not happening. Shrike says PK's tweet about Lewan announcing his retirement within the month likely true. Oh, I didn't see that. I mean, probably. It wouldn't surprise me. I don't know. I haven't talked to Taylor. But yeah, if Taylor came out at the end of the month and said he's retiring from football, that would make all the sense in the world. I don't know why, I mean, you take whatever time that he wants to take, and maybe he felt like, okay, I'll give it till training camp. And if I feel like I want to try and get back into this thing once training camp gets here, and he probably got here and was like, nah, that shit sucks. I'm good. So yeah, we'll see. If Lewan ends up retiring, then that'll be fine. Is Dennis Kelly a free agent? No, Dennis signed with the Eagles. Dennis just recently re-signed with the Eagles the other day. I think that was last week or the week prior. But yeah, Dennis is not a free agent at this point. So that is not available to you at this stage anyway. So Hubbard is probably going to be the right tackle. Unless he is like objectively awful in training camp, and we'll see what happens with joint practices. They've got the Vikings and the Patriots. I don't know if he'll play in the preseason. He might. Matt Drew says, can you get Ben Jones back? I mean, maybe. But like Ben was on the show a couple of weeks ago at SEC Media Days, and he said he would have started camp on the PUP anyway because he had, I think, in his words, a ton of surgeries. So, Benny, like bringing Ben back at this point, that doesn't help Aaron Brewer. They don't have a center problem. They have a right tackle problem. And, I think at this point, they're probably moved on from Ben at this stage. So I think that when you talk about the offensive line situation, I think Skoronski's going to stay where he's at. I think Hubbard is probably the guy until he's not. And at this point, this is just kind of it's chicken salad, chicken shit in the meantime at right tackle. That's kind of the existence that they have. Pastor Raymond Little says, what's up with Corey Levin? He didn't practice today. I know he was working out while they were practicing, but he was not out there on the practice field with them today. So, I don't. It didn't come up in the press conference. Okay, let's wrap up with a weekend bounce back. Who in sports needs to bounce back this week on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch? We will discuss at length together right after I remind you that the Primetime Show is presented by Amanda J. Gentry, the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. As a matter of fact, she is going to go wherever justice demands. Her and her team are passionate, incredibly passionate about protecting your constitutional rights. They have practiced and been in courtrooms in 35 counties in Middle Tennessee. They will go where you need them to go. That kind of commitment is what Amanda J. Gentry and her team promise to you. AmandaJGentry.com is where you can go to find out about all the different things that they can offer you as you protect your constitutional rights. In particular, she is very passionate about fathers' rights, protecting your fundamental constitutional right to be a father to your child. So if you are in need of her services, AmandaJGentry.com is where you go. So who needs to bounce back most in sports this week? Jamarco Jones could use a bounce back at this point. There is no question that the former Titans right tackle, as Francis makes the first appearance, not on the laptop, Frank. For God's sakes. Literally on the laptop. She done so well. Who needs to bounce back most in sports? I need to bounce back. Get the hell out of here, Frank. I let her on the desk. She was behaving herself. And then all of a sudden she feels the need to walk directly across the keyboard. So while Leo is behaving passed out in his bed in my office, Frank is out here wreaking havoc. Matt Drew says, you seem like a cat person. You're damn right. Dogs are a pain in the ass. I don't like dogs. Dogs are all in your stuff. Dogs are that's not true. I like animals more than I like people. But I would say that dogs have unconditional love, and my love absolutely has conditions. Dogs are way too intrusive for somebody like me. So I wasn't a pet person at all, but the two trash pandas. For those of you who have been with me for a long time, you know the story of how they ended up in my home at this stage. Anyway, the cat is Bert's replacement. Yeah, the cat would do the job more efficiently than Robert. That's definitely so. But I think that as you look at bounce back candidates, there is no better one than everything that's going on with the Indianapolis Colts this week. In particular, Jim Irsay, who has money to save the orca whales, which is a just and noble cause. But in the meantime, he's currently pissing off his best offensive player while he puts out promotional videos of him just handing out cash to fans.
Okay, Mayor, God bless. Good to see you. Thanks again.
Mr. Irsay, I never win a Twitter contest. Can I get a signature?
Can't stop but give this to that man.
Oh my. Woo! Oh! Mr. Irsay, you're the man! Woo! Thank you!
What did Irsay give you?
A boatload of cash. $2,000!
Woo!
And it's signed! It's got a signature!
Let me see it.
Dude, I enter all of his Twitter contests and I never win. This is awesome. Way cool. Thank you so much. Mr. Irsay, I just want to say thank you again for your generosity last night. My family and I plan to use the money to make some more family memories, maybe some concerts, rounds of golf, or even a Colts game or two. We're super excited. Thank you again, and go Colts.
Mr. Jones says that guy's Indy's new running back. Yeah, they handed him a stack of cash, and that's who's going to play running back for the Colts this year. Money became worthless when he signed it. There's also that, he handed him a stack of $100 bills, but they're signed. Does that invalidate the tender? I don't think so, because you've seen weird stuff drawn on dollar bills. It's probably been at strip clubs and other facilities of ill repute. So I don't think a signature outright invalidates the $100 bill, but it probably makes it harder to use. That's hilarious. Indy fans love him. Says, listen, I love Jim Irsay. I think Jim Irsay's hilarious. He's a cartoon character. I hope that dude is always in the NFL. He is, there's going to be a lot of fans who hate him. His running back hates him right now. The Orcas don't. He's out here saving the Orcas, so maybe the Orcas are fans of Jim Irsay. I am a fan of Jim Irsay. I think that dude is hilarious. I think the league needs crazy owners like that. And if Jim Irsay is going to be the guy, then so be it. He is unbelievably. The league needs more characters, right? Jerry Jones a character. The league needs Jerry Jones. The league needs guys like Jim Irsay. They also need shitty human beings like Jimmy Haslam and Danny Snyder. And one is gone, so now Haslam gets to take the mantle as the most hated owner in the NFL at this stage, one would think. All right, that's going to do it for us tonight. That's going to do it for us this week. We appreciate you guys spending some time with us here on the Primetime Show. So for those of you who listen to the radio show, you know today that practice got rained in, basically. Lightning on the practice field, or while we were out there at practice, put them inside of the bubble. So we had to reschedule the Will Levis interview to tomorrow. So Will Levis will be on the radio show live at training camp tomorrow. We'll do that around the 11 o'clock hour. So make sure you're listening and we'll enjoy it. Matt Drew says, wait, no prime time tomorrow? No, it's Friday. You guys don't pay me enough to work on Fridays on top of Sunday through Thursday nights. So no, you don't get a primetime show on Friday. Get a radio show from 10 to 1 on 104.5 The Zone, and that's it. If I don't talk to you then, have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll talk to you after the Big Machine Music City Grand Prix, where I'm going to be hanging out Friday through Sunday at this point on A to Z Sports Primetime. See you guys.
Are you surprised to hear that?
Certainly not. The first year we
took it to the limit. And I was in Miami with my new beach house. Well, it was a couple minutes from the beach.
It's been 20 years since then. We haven't been too strong in the last few years.
Oh, we've been strong. We're just playing by the rules. You can't have a newcomer come in and steal the show.